So the way that we're going to go about making up the class on Tuesday is we're going to get through as much of Chapter 9 as possible today, probably the whole thing. And then I'm going to send you all videos immediately after this class for the rest of Chapter 9 if we don't get through all of it, and then the first part of Chapter 10. I'm not going to have you learn game theory on your own because it's very difficult, but I'll send you the first part of Chapter 10 to watch before class on Tuesday. This will all be in an announcement. It'll be very clear. All right, but our cost review. So a lot of us had difficulties remembering and graphing our cost curves on the exam, right? So whenever we have our cost curves, we've got dollars on the y-axis, and we have quantity, units, on the x-axis, right? When we're talking with cost curves, the way we start out is with a Nike swoosh mark having to do with our marginal cost. We have a average total cost that looks something like this. And then we have a average variable cost, which starts out modeling the average total cost and then gets closer and closer and closer as time goes on. Why does the average variable cost get closer and closer and closer as time goes on? Because essentially this average variable cost is representing our marginal cost, our average fixed cost. The difference between these two is the same as this distance. And so as our average fixed cost gets smaller and smaller and smaller, right, the distance between them here, it should be, and again, I'm not an artist, doing my best, should be the same as the distance between those two there. So the average variable cost curve gets closer to the average total cost curve. Why? Because the average fixed cost curve decreases. A couple of important things to note here. If this is drawn correctly, the average total cost curve, its lowest point is going to be where the marginal cost crosses through it. This is by definition, right? And let's think about it. If we're at this situation here, and we're trying to figure out what's going to happen to our average total cost, well, the next unit, the cost of the next unit is the marginal cost, right? So if I'm adding one more unit that has a marginal cost that is lower than my average total cost, then my average total cost is decreasing, right? So the average total cost is always going to be decreasing anywhere to the left of the marginal cost curve, where the marginal cost curve crosses the average total cost curve. And then similarly, if we were over here, right, if we were over here in the average total cost and we decided to increase by 1 unit, the marginal cost of increasing is way up here. And so it obviously makes sense that if we add, so if we were looking at the weight of everybody in this class and we added a sumo wrestler, we would expect the average weight to go up, right? So that's a similar thing. If we're over here and we add one more unit and the marginal cost is up here, the average total cost, the next one, is going to be higher. So anywhere to the right of this place where the marginal cost is above the average total cost curve, the average total cost has to increase. So what does this mean? This means that the marginal cost always crosses through the average total cost at the average total cost lowest point. This also happens for the average variable cost. Questions on our cost curves, what they are, how to draw them. Again, this is very important. We're going to be using this in chapter, I misspoke earlier. We're going to be doing chapter 8 today, which is competition, and then I'm going to give you videos for chapter 9 and part of chapter 10. I won't give you longer than whatever the class is worth of videos. So I won't give you longer than like 70 minutes worth of videos. I'll make a new playlist and I'll link you all to it immediately after this class. But we need to know these cost curves because chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 10, they all build on these cost curves. Questions?